Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is reaching for a cup with their left hand. Someone is writing their name, throwing a ball, opening a door, holding a child's hand. And for thousands of years, the world looked at that hand and called it wrong. Teachers tried to stop it. Parents corrected it. Entire cultures feared it. But here's the strange thing. No matter how hard humanity tried to erase left-handedness, it never disappeared, not once. Across continents, across empires, across thousands of years of human history, the number stayed almost exactly the same. About 1 in 10 people, always, not 50%, not 5%, not random, just enough to remain rare. And here's the part that feels almost impossible. The reason you use one hand over the other was likely decided before you were even born, before your first breath, before your first memory, before anyone ever spoke your name. Which means this isn't just a habit, it's something older, deeper, hidden inside the design of being human itself. And the reason evolution kept left-handed people alive may reveal something strange about why nature protects difference at all. If you really think about it, human beings are built around symmetry. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 arms, 2 hands. Everything looks balanced, so logically, which hand you favor should be random. A perfect coin flip. Half of humanity, left-handed, half right-handed. But that never happened. Instead, almost every society in history became overwhelmingly right-handed, and not by a little, roughly 90%, which creates a much stranger question, because the mystery isn't really, why are some humans left-handed? The real mystery is, why did evolution make most humans right-handed, while refusing to eliminate the other side completely? Because evolution is ruthless. Traits that don't help survival usually fade away over time. Tiny disadvantages disappear generation by generation. So if left-handedness served no purpose, nature should have erased it long ago. But it didn't. For tens of thousands of years, something kept protecting that 10%. Something made sure the pattern survived. To understand how old this mystery is, you have to walk backward through time. Far beyond cities, beyond books, beyond recorded history itself, into caves. Ancient humans used to press one hand against stone walls, then blow pigment over it, leaving behind a silhouette, a ghost of themselves. And those handprints still exist today. Some are over 30,000 years old, which means the people who made them lived closer to mammoths than to modern civilization. But here's the detail scientists noticed. Most of those cave stencils are left hands, which sounds backwards at first, until you realize something. To spray the pigment, you'd naturally hold the tube with your dominant hand, meaning, if the left hand is on the wall, the right hand did the work. And when researchers counted the prints, they discovered almost the exact same ratio we see today. Mostly right-handed. A smaller group of left-handed humans, the same pattern, the same balance, 30,000 years apart. That means left-handedness isn't modern. It isn't caused by smartphones or schools or culture. The pattern existed before civilization itself, which means evolution chose to keep it for a very long time. And then the story becomes even stranger, because scientists discovered something almost eerie. Handedness appears before birth, long before a child speaks, long before walking, long before writing. Researchers studying ultrasounds noticed unborn babies already preferred one hand over the other. Some consistently sucked their right thumb, others favored the left. And years later, those same children usually grew into right-handed or left-handed adults accordingly. Think about that for a second. At 10 weeks old, you already had a preference. Inside darkness, inside silence, inside the womb, your brain was already beginning to divide the world into sides, left, right, chosen before memory itself existed. Which means handedness isn't something society invents. It's woven into development itself, into the architecture of the human nervous system. And somehow, your body knew. And your hands are only the surface of the story. Because the deeper scientists looked, the more they realized something unsettling. Human beings only appear symmetrical. Inside, we're not balanced at all. Your heart leans left, your liver leans right, your lungs aren't identical. Even your brain divides tasks unevenly between hemispheres. One side becomes more involved with language. The other specializes differently. You're not perfectly mirrored. you're quietly uneven, and handedness may be one visible clue to that hidden imbalance. The same biological machinery helping organize the body may also influence which hand becomes dominant, meaning the question was never really about hands. Hands are just the symptom. The real mystery is why human beings evolved asymmetry at all, why nature intentionally avoided perfect balance, and maybe because perfect symmetry isn't always the best survival strategy. But even then, the biggest question still remains unanswered. If 90% of humans became right-handed, why not 100? Why stop at 10%? Because evolution usually pushes successful traits toward dominance. If one version consistently works better, it spreads. So why preserve a minority at all? Why keep producing left-handed humans generation after generation? And the answer scientists arrived at might be one of the most beautiful ideas in evolutionary biology, because the advantage of being different only works if you're rare. Imagine ancient humans, not modern people. Early humans, small tribes, constant danger, competition everywhere. Most people trained, fought, hunted, and defended themselves against right-handed opponents. Every instinct, every expectation became built around that pattern. Then suddenly, you encounter someone reversed, a left-hander. Their movements come from the wrong side. Their angles feel unfamiliar. Your instincts hesitate for half a second. And in survival, half a second matters. Scientists call this the fighting hypothesis. The idea that left-handed people survived because being uncommon created an advantage in direct competition. And weirdly, modern sports still show traces of this effect. Boxing, fencing, baseball, tennis. In many one-on-one sports, left-handers appear far more often than statistics predict. Not because left-handed people are stronger, not because they're smarter, because opponents spend most of their lives preparing for right-handed patterns. Left-handers disrupt expectation itself, and evolution may have rewarded that disruption. But here's the twist. The advantage only exists because left-handed people are rare. If left-handed humans suddenly became the majority, everyone would adapt. Everyone would train against them. The surprise would vanish, which means the rarity itself is the advantage. And that's the beautiful balance nature discovered. Keep left-handedness uncommon enough to remain unpredictable, but common enough to never disappear. Not too many, not too few, just enough, about 1 in 10, held there for thousands of generations, not by accident, but by equilibrium. An evolutionary balancing act hidden quietly inside humanity, difference surviving specifically because it remains different. And then humans misunderstood the pattern completely. For centuries, left-handedness became associated with fear. In Latin, the word for left was sinister. Many cultures connected the left hand with bad luck, dishonesty, even evil. Children were punished for writing naturally. Teachers forced pens into the opposite hand. Some had their left hand tied behind their backs. Imagine that. Evolution spent 1,000,000 years preserving a trait, and civilization spent centuries trying to erase it. Not because it was dangerous, but because people feared difference they didn't understand. And many left-handed children grew up believing something about them was wrong, when really, they were carrying one of the oldest surviving variations in human biology. And once you notice this pattern, you start seeing it everywhere in nature. Not every bee behaves the same way. Not every wolf hunts the same way. Not every bird migrates identically. Nature often protects variation. Because environments change, challenges change, and populations survive better when not everyone is identical. A species made entirely of copies becomes fragile. But variation creates resilience, different perspectives, different reactions, different strengths. Nature doesn't always optimize for perfection. Sometimes it optimizes for adaptability, which means being unusual can itself become useful. And maybe that's one of the deepest truths hidden inside evolution. Difference is not necessarily a flaw. Sometimes difference is insurance for the future. And maybe that's why this story feels personal to so many people. Because almost everyone knows what it's like to feel slightly out of place, different from the majority in some way. Too quiet, too emotional, too strange, too intense, too creative, too different. Human beings instinctively fear standing apart from the group. But nature repeatedly does something fascinating. It keeps preserving exceptions, again and again. Because sometimes the thing that makes you unusual is the exact thing the system secretly benefits from, not despite the difference, because of it. So if you're left-handed, the answer was never, something went wrong. For as long as there have been humans, nature has quietly protected a small group of people who experience the world from the opposite side, not because evolution failed to remove them, because evolution chose to keep them, carefully, consistently, generation after generation, a living reminder that sameness is not always strength, that sometimes rarity itself has value. You are not outside the pattern. You are part of the reason the pattern survives, not a glitch in humanity. A feature humanity kept, 10%, across caves, across kingdoms, across centuries, quietly carried forward through time. A small imbalance that refused to disappear. And maybe that's the strangest part of all. Nature knew something long before we did. A world where everyone is identical is weaker than a world that leaves room for difference. Even small differences, especially small differences, the clock keeps better track of us than we do.